Hey there, you found yourself on the Willow Walk Podcast, where we're shrinking the distance between the pews by getting to know our congregation better. Today, we have our second guest, Mr. Owen Massey. Owen, how are you?
It's good. It's good to be here.
Good. So far I've had Kevin Smith on here, right? Yep. And I told him he was voluntold. Have you also been pressured into this, Owen?
Not really pressured, but it was like, I was like, yeah, just let me know whenever you want me to be on there and I'll be, take the time to come and do it. So
blink twice if someone's making you say that. So many of you will probably know Owen. He is one of our young members here, I guess, college student. I don't know if by the most technical sense, if you are technically a member.
I haven't placed membership. I've just been hanging around since my time up here at school. So.
Yeah, and how long has that been?
I've been up here since August of 2021.
Yeah. So that's like 4 years now.
Yeah, just about 4 years. So.
You know, that's about how long I hung out after moving back at Willow before I placed membership. So anyways, a lot of you are going to know Owen from song leading, or maybe from the sound booth. Of course, a lot of people aren't looking back in the sound booth unless things are going wrong. Yeah. And let's be honest, Owen, it's you and me in the sound booth. Things aren't going wrong.
Typically not.
If
it is, it's because we tried something new.
Oh, we have done that before, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
So I've got to confess something about Owen. Owen and I are friends, right? I think that's fair to say at this point.
Oh, it is.
And what was it? It was probably about 6-8 months ago. We were sitting back in the sound booth, and you mentioned something about how old you were, and I did that math. Oh, and you are technically this much closer in age to my son than you are to me.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was that made me feel really old, my friend.
Yeah, I've got a friend back home that's about the same age as you, and he's got a son, and so we're about like the same. It's like about the same distance, which I'm like right directly in the middle of them, just about.
Yeah. So this is your MO? Is that
no.
Making 30-somethings feel really old. Oh, all right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Owen?
Yeah. So I am 22 years old, and I am in my final year of mechanical engineering here at Tennessee Tech in Cookeville. So I found myself up here just because we had come up for a visit. There was a member from our congregation that was on the football team, and we came up for a visit of the campus, and then I kind of just kept coming back. So that's a little bit about me, but I'm also on the Baja team here at Tech, and so we do a single-seat off-road vehicle every year that we build. So we design it from scratch every year and do manufacturing and everything that we can on campus and get only stuff outsourced that we don't have capabilities for right now. So
and all of that on top of your classes.
Yes, on top of all my classes too. So
yeah. So how much free time do you have?
I don't have much. I like all my free time I put into like Baja, or I'm at like stuff for church or different hanging out with people. But a lot of my friends are in Baja, so it's like I'm hanging out with my friends in my free time anyways and doing it that. So
cool. So how much longer do you have then here at Tech?
So I graduate with my undergrad in December, and the plan is to stick around for a master. So I'll be around up here for probably about 2 more years, 2.5. So.
Cool. So we can't shake you yet.
No, I'm not gone yet.
All right. Maybe we can convince you to stay after that. We'll see.
We'll see.
So yeah. So now let's talk about Willow, and one of the big things that we're really pushing towards is getting lots of people from the outside involved and integrated, right? Because there's a lot of people here at Willow that have gone to Willow forever.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I've come and gone, but I mean, I started coming here when I was probably middle school. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, there's a lot of faces that I still recognize.
Yeah.
Now there's some I don't, and that's good. I think it's great to have new people come in, but talk a little bit about your experience with that.
Yeah, so whenever I came in originally, it was kind of, I had gone around to a couple of different places in Cookeville, and then I kind of came here, and I just kind of seemed a lot like what the atmosphere of the congregation was a lot like what I was used to at Woodstock back home. And so that was kind of just that thing that everybody was really welcoming and really inviting, and like trying to get to, make sure that they knew that I was there every week, and just, kind of keeping up with me, making sure like, hey, yeah, it's good to see you again, kind of all that kind of stuff. And then Slowly got involved with like the song leading and stuff because somebody had mentioned that they had noticed some strong singing sitting by over where I was, and so kind of
no gloating, right?
no. It's just the way that's how it was described to me, so I'm just passing it on.
You're
that way.
recounting,
so, exactly. Yes, just going back over it. But so just getting involved with that and kind of picking up the pieces, and I enjoy song leading, and it's something that I really enjoy getting to lead God's people and worshiping Him. And so getting to be able to have that opportunity while I'm here up at school, or somewhere that I'm not necessarily placing worship because it's not like a permanent place that I'm going to be, but that the elders have allowed me to do that. That's something that I'm very grateful for. And then I just like being able to help out. So like the sound booth and the back stuff, kind of helping figure some of that stuff out and just get involved and help make the worship flow and kind of all that. Because as you going back a little bit to how getting involved, you can't really have an involved group on the out to try and bring people in if you're not interconnected and knowing people on the inside. So it kind of starts within the four walls of the congregation before you can go outward and bring it in. Because if you don't know who you're sitting next to, or you don't know somebody across the hall or across the pew or in a different class or something like that. Now, granted, there are almost 300 people here, so it's going to be hard to have interactions with everybody every week. But being able to kind of have some of those connections that are close-knit and be able to then take those and have a group of maybe 4 people that are all super close and go and try and bring some people in like that in different campaigns and stuff like that.
So, yeah, I mean, we've, you and I have torn that sound booth apart several times over now. It's so funny. People will come up to me and they'll be like, something's different. And I'm like, yeah, a lot is different. Mm-hmm. That sound booth, it's one of those classic like almost IT problems, right? Mm-hmm. Where like I didn't set it up, and so I have to go in and like figure out, okay, first off, what all is doing something, and what do each of those things do, and then what problems are there, and can I make it better?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like following the cable. It's like, where does this cable really lead to, and what is it really doing, and why does it get converted to 3 different formats? And then finally we get the output, and it's like, if we change something, it's all going to go amiss, and it's not going to work because of this one little cable that we have no idea why it's even there.
Yeah, I know, especially with the sound rebalancing after that audio interface died a couple months ago. Where I did the thing Glenn told me not to do. We went to the back and touched the amps, right, and turned them way down so that we could get more signal cranked up. But even that is just like a 2-step process that seems like a lot. But then you start having more things show up, like, okay, now all that echoing, reverb, and stuff like that I've previously tuned out, I've got to come back in and tune it back out all over again.
Because we're dealing with different frequencies at that point. Yeah. It's the fun stuff.
Yeah. Owen, this is much nerdier than my last podcast.
I also think a lot of the stuff that comes with the sound booths is you're dealing with stuff that, not in case in this building, but at least at home, you're dealing with stuff that was put in originally in the 80s and 90s. And so you've adapted it up to different technologies as it's come through with the addition of streaming, with the addition of recording videos of it and different stuff like that. You have a lot of stuff that's just gotten added. And so it's like, okay, well, I'm going to work around what's already here and just kind of integrate it, but you're not creating a whole designed cohesive one system, so you're kind of like just dealing with adapting and all that stuff. So and a perfect example of that is like, even the technology even in just a couple of years moves really fast. Like we've got that PTZ cam back there, and I've gone back and looked at previous live streams that Willow did. I never much paid attention to them, right? 'Cause I was here, right? And so I would go back and I would look at them, and clearly at some point it was a camera that was mounted probably on top of the sound booth and kind of pointing at an angle and up there and like super zoomed in and kind of bad quality and dark and no hate. That's what they were doing back then. And, that's what they needed to get going. They got that PTZ cam, which is really cool because it'll move this way and that way and up that and zoom in and zoom out. It does all those things. But even that, I kind of think is potato quality. Yeah. It's fantastic for what it is, and it was fantastic for the time. And I may be a bit of a snob with cameras. So I've started recording, especially the sermons. Not the whole. That PTZ cam is great for, say, the whole live stream. Right. But I've started recording just the sermons and then pulling that audio from our great sound system. Right. That gets recorded and processing it, putting a little polish on it, and just publishing out those sermons. Right.
I think just a little bit of effort goes a long way.
Because I think even with that, if there's people that are wanting to watch or that are seeking for information, it's a lot easier for them just to click on a video that just gets straight into the message and not have to kind of scrub through the parts that they might not want to be there for if they're just trying to listen to the different sermons that Michael's doing.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was asked to do at some point, this was probably 2 years ago now at this point, was to shoot a couple of like Devo style videos that someone else was doing, but I was just running the camera, right? So that we could put them on a screen down in the benevolence building. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't have anything to do with the benevolence, right? And so I don't know how often people are going down there or how often they're seeing it or whatever. But it kind of put that bug in my ear about, hey, this video production stuff isn't horrible. It's not hard to do. I have a lot of experience with it. I think a lot of people are afraid of these new avenues to communicate.
100%.
Yeah. It's just, it's different.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot different.
It's not standing up on behind the pulpit, which is terrifying in and of itself the first couple times you do it. Yeah. And by the first couple times, I mean, most of the times that you do it, you get a little bit of trepidation.
There's a little bit every time because it's always like, well, there's always something new that could go wrong that you've never had happen before.
Yeah. And so, these, we're going to be starting this new video series that I'm hoping to get a lot of people involved in, right? And there's 3 different types of videos we're going to be producing, right? I'm going to keep doing the sermons, right? It's not every week, but it's a lot of the weeks that I'm able to get somebody back there to follow Michael around to see prances back and forth.
Once he starts moving, sometimes it takes him longer to start moving, but as soon as he starts moving, he just goes like today. It was like immediate. Like he was up there for like 2 minutes, and he was already starting to walk. I'm like, well, that wasn't very long.
See, I kind of think that it's worse when he stands there for like 10 minutes and then starts moving because it's like, oh, I've got to pay attention.
It's like all the anticipation. It's like, oh, he's moving now, so it's not going to stop.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, we're doing some of this podcast stuff, right? And that's not really meant to like carry the gospel message or anything like that. Although someone else is welcome to come and do that if they want. But right now it's just meant to try to draw our congregation together. I see Owen Massey up on the stage a lot, right? But if we hadn't run the sound booth together, you sit on the other side from me.
I was going to say, we're completely different sectors.
We probably wouldn't know each other that well, right? Thanks, Glenn. But we are going to start doing some video production where it's, say, like 90 seconds of your favorite scripture, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked to the elders about this, right? And it's anyone is welcome to do that, right? Men, women, doesn't matter, right? We're also going to have more devotional style stuff, right? Like a 10-minute Devo, like a Wednesday night Devo you might do.
Yeah.
Right. And then the third thing we're going to have is more long form content, right? It might be, I'd say it's going to take more of like a Bible class style, right? Because, the camera is a whole lot more intimate, like talking to somebody directly. But, it could be a 20-minute study on a passage. It could be a 30-minute study on a passage. It could be that it's a whole video series where we're going through an entire Bible book or something like that. I guess what I've got to figure out at this point is how do I convince people to do that?
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's the big thing because it's like even with some of the stuff, like just trying to get people involved in different things with Baja, it's like, okay, we've got this giant thing that we're trying to do. Everybody wants to do the fun final end product. Everybody wants people to come and be more involved with different things from the outside, but it's kind of, you have to kind of find a way that works for each individual person to kind of work towards their strengths.
Yeah. And
kind of not just have like a big, I found especially, and this will probably transpire over a little bit, is if you can give somebody more like a specific task of, hey, I want you to try and look at this specific thing, not just have some broad overview of, okay, I want you to look at the suspension, because that's a big task that's looming over them if you're trying to have them look at something very big, but kind of like narrowing down into that like very specific case. Where so like in the fact of if somebody's like, well, I would want to do one of these 90-second devotionals or 90-second of scripture, but it's hard for me to pick a scripture. Okay, great. Then we'll have a list of scriptures that are ones that we think would be good if you don't have a particular one that you want to do, and you can pick from that list. And so it's taking one of the things away from them and kind of opening up that door a little bit more for them to be able to kind of step into it a little bit more gently.
Yeah. That's one of the things I saw, especially with the big cookout that we had last fall, right? You know, there was an energy behind that. Yeah. It was great, right? And there were so many people who showed up, right? Along the way at various stages, some of them on the day of, some of them well before, right? That were just, you know, they were happy to be involved, right? But they didn't know what to do, right? And if you can give them something specific, hey, you are now in charge of the face painting, right? Figure out what that means, right? That one, even that's pretty broad, right? You know, it could be as specific as, hey, we're going to have a face painting booth set up. I've got everything set up, but you just figure out, you know, what type of face paints you want to do and maybe practice a little bit on it, right? You know, something a little more specific like that, you know, could really go a long way, right? So that's a great idea, Owen. I'm going to take that. But
I'll allow it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, like coming up with some scriptures for people to consider. Yeah. Hey, you know, do I like this one and why? Right. You know, that's kind of a weird thought. You're like, wait, I should like all the scriptures. But
no, yeah. But it's like kind of like this whole thing for me. If it would take me a while to try and like narrow it down to something that I could, you know, maybe fit into 90 seconds or something, which it depends. Sometimes I can talk really fast, so I can fit a lot of information into 90 seconds if I really tried. But
and you do talk really fast to be from Georgia. So, and to be clear, right, the 90 seconds is just to not overwhelm people with. Right? I'm not cutting you off at 90 seconds.
No, and it's a catchy name for like a series or something. Yeah. It's like whatever it ends up being. It's like 90 seconds is a nice clean number for title purposes.
Yeah. And like if it's 60 seconds, if you're done, cool. If it's 3 minutes, fine. Yeah. If it's 10 minutes, I might put you in the other category.
I was going to say, you're going to end up in the other one. You're going to find yourself with more different tasks with that one. So
yeah. So, you know, even people who don't want to necessarily get in front of the camera, which honestly, it's not as bad as you would think.
No, it really isn't.
Right? Because you're really going to have somebody standing right behind the camera and you just talk to them instead. Yeah. Yeah. But if you super don't want to do that, right, there's other ways you can get involved, right? I've already been talking to a couple of guys who, you know, are constantly eager to get involved, right? And said, hey, I don't want to run my cameras all the time as frequently as this is going to take. Can I teach you how to run these cameras? Yeah. And let you do it for me, right? That way I'm doing it like once a month, once every other month, something like that, instead of coming in here like every other week. Yeah. Shooting people.
Because in that way, it kind of, that's the way people can be involved, like you said, can be involved too if they don't necessarily want to be on the other end of the camera. Because there's a lot that goes in behind the camera that a lot of people don't even think about, don't even see. But there's a lot of the stuff in just getting set up, but also the post-processing and all that stuff too. It's like a whole big life cycle to get one. Even a 60-second video could take several hours to get together, but trying to have it set up and going through it once or twice to make sure everything's good. So
the first time I edited Michael's sermons, right? You know, his sermon's 25, 30 minutes, something like that, right? I think it took me like 4 hours to do, right? But now, and I really saw this with the gospel meeting that we just did, right? You know, Jack did 6 different lessons across 4 different days or whatever. 15 minutes. Yeah.
You got your process down now. At this point,
it's nailed down. Yeah. And like the first episode of the podcast took me, you know, probably 3-ish hours to edit and cut back and forth. Of course, this is multicam. Right. There. But, you know, but now I have the intro that's already baked in that I can do, and I've got the music picked out, and I don't have to go look for something new. And, you know, the title graphics and things like that. So it should take me half as long. Yeah. Right? Ideally. But, you know, now video editing is a league of its own, right? You would really want somebody who already has an interest in it, right? If they've already done some, that's great, right? But I don't even need you to have already done some. Yeah. Right? As long as you have some interest in it. and you have a computer,
Right. Yeah. That's really all you need.
yeah, then I can show you roughly how to do it,
Yeah.
right? And let you have at it. And if you do it wrong, okay,
Yeah.
right? It's not live.
No.
Yeah, we'll just do it again.
Do it again.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep adjusting it, keep refining it, because then you can eventually, because it depends, like, especially for the sermons, the color's typically always about the same in there.
Yes.
So you can just, at one point, get your filter set for all that to get everything adjusted correctly, and then just apply it to the rest of the videos, and you're good to go.
Yeah. So that's going to be a really exciting adventure to get going on.
Yeah, it will be.
And I appreciate the brainstorming. But that is between the singing, the sound booth, and being my idea person today, right? That's not all you do, is it?
No.
Yeah. In fact, you in about 5 minutes are going to do something else.
When we get done here, I'm going to go help some of the little boys. Well, they're young men. We'll call them young men.
Yeah.
Work on song leading and scripture reading. So it's in a program called Lads to Leaders, and it's a program that I started when I was about kindergarten or first grade. So it's something that I was involved in for basically my whole elementary, middle, high school experience, was being a part of Lads to Leaders every year. And so being able to help kind of like the next generation of the church grow up in that is something that's kind of really cool and like full circle for me. So
that is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Sam's first year in doing it, right?
Yeah.
I've heard a little bit about it in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they may have had it either when I was a kid or just after I was past that at some point. I never participated in it though, right? I did everything else, did Bible Bowl and all that stuff. But I didn't do Last to Leaders, right? Yeah. We had like young men services and things like that, but it wasn't like this organized, like, I mean, we're coming, every Sunday afternoon?
Yeah. It's typically what it is. So the convention, the Last Leaders Convention, is always Easter weekend. That's just the way that it's been for as long as I've known. I don't know if, I always thought it's because it was easy to get their hotels blocked for all the conventions because nobody else is going to have a conference Easter weekend. So we started going down on like Thursday night. We always went to the Atlanta convention. And so the convention is not something that's not like the most important part about it. It's just kind of it's fun kind of in a way because you get to see people from different congregations kind of that you've been growing up with the whole time and just see how everybody else is growing along in the program as well. But it also give you an opportunity to be with your congregation as well at the conference and do that. So it's like a Friday, Saturday is when all the events kind of take place. And then Sunday there's a big worship service that's led by like the older kids. Like the high schoolers get to lead the worship service. And I was able to be a part of that a couple of times. And that's just super neat to be able to do that and just be able to kind of lead God's people in like a setting like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and for a lot of these kids, right? It's almost like their first retreat.
No, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
I mean, Sam's never been on a retreat before.
Yeah,
right? I mean, he's 7, right? But I mean, I remember once I got to the youth group, I mean, those retreats are meaningful.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
They really are. And it's like something like the skills that this program teaches and that you're able to like learn in this program are things that, number one, most importantly, apply to leading worship services and stuff like that, but also in outside of a church setting, just getting up in front of people, it's helped me a lot. Just already having that exposure, already being ready to present different ideas and different stuff like that, being able to talk on a topic for 5 minutes, whether I've been prepared or not. Because one of the things as you get older is like there's winter circle speech. So there's a whole section of topics and you don't know what you're gonna have to speak on. So you have your prepared speech. And then once you do your prepared speech, you draw a little topic out of the bag. They come from the Pearls book, which is just it's a 13-lesson study that they have that's a new book every year. And so there's like certain lessons and topics that are pulled out of that. So it's like you have to be prepared from that topic to be able to speak on whatever I think that one's about 3 minutes. But it's kind of just some of that stuff. It just prepares you to be in front of people, to lead people, to be confident in yourself and your abilities. And so that's something that's helped me a lot. And especially in the roles that I found myself at on campus and different things and being on different leadership teams and talking to different administration type situations where it's like I would be a whole lot more nervous if I hadn't had this exposure of speaking in front of people that I've never seen before and different stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get anything like I think I did a little bit of song leading when I was younger, or like we'd go serve on the Lord's table or something like that, right? But like actually being on a stage and talking to people, I didn't do that until high school.
Yeah.
In theater class.
And one of the things that we had talked about earlier was, being scared to get behind the pulpit. So this program really is starting around at like 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
Kind of just helps to break that barrier in a situation where, okay, we're learning how to do it. So we're going to help you along the way, and you're going to start to get comfortable with that. One thing I told the boys last week was, it's good to make eye contact. But at 7, 8 years old, it's very daunting to look at somebody in the audience and just make eye contact with them. So one thing that I told them, this is our little secret, but now I'm telling it to everybody, is it's okay, it's a good secret, is just pick a pew. This was told to me when I was growing up in the program. Pick a pew out in the audience and wear that pew out. Look at that pew. Look down an aisle, because to everybody in the audience, it'll look like you're making eye contact with them, and it'll mean a whole lot more to everybody there. That's like, okay, he's engaging. It just kind of helps the thing a little bit until you break that down. And now I don't look at it. I mean, sometimes I find myself just looking down an aisle just to kind of broadly make it appear as if I'm looking at more people. But there are some times where I'll look at one person individually maybe, or just keep panning and stuff like that. And that's another thing that the Lads Leaders program has done, is there's so many songs that I know like by memory at this point, that a lot of times when I'm up there leading, I don't need any of this stuff that I have. I have it up there just in case, but I'm able to lead the congregation from memory and be able to be a lot more engaging, in my opinion, of looking out. I try and, now we've got live streams, I always try to make sure I look directly at the camera a couple times like that, just to try and get that engagement for those people that aren't in the auditorium. So
that's really neat that we've got this going on for these younger kids. What age group does that go through? All the way through high school?
All the way through high school, yeah. So it's set up for, the way that it's technically set up for like the convention setup is they have like a second grade to 12th grade is kind of the way that they have it set up. But really there's no real cutoff, because it's just basically an idea for a program. So they have that set up to where you can go to the convention, to where you can compete, and there's like medals and different awards and stuff like that. But for me, that's never what it was about. It was just about gaining the experience and like getting, just gaining the experience and leading God's people. Yeah. So,
I'm brainstorming here, but just these little tidbits that you're throwing out, these tips and tricks, these mental things that you're talking about working through and getting over as you're standing in front of the whole congregation and things like that. It probably wouldn't hurt us to have like a workshop for the older men to do that. And I don't mean like the old men. I mean the me and older men, right?
Well, there's even some people my age that have never been, or a little bit younger, some of the high schoolers that maybe not have had as much exposure, which the high schoolers here do a great job of when they're leading their devos or all that different stuff. They're very involved and they're very, very confident in themselves and their abilities, and it shows when they're up there leading the congregation. But there is some of this stuff that it's like, okay, I'm super nervous about it, but there's maybe a couple of these little things from people who have a little bit more experience. So getting with some of the older men, Michael, and just different things like that have a lot more exposure to this type of things. Okay, what do you remember from whenever you were first getting up there? What helped you get over some of these obstacles? I think that would definitely be a great workshop to have.
That'd be cool, like men's group, like day, just hear it with like an in-service day for the men.
Do like a breakfast and then kind of have like a little workshop of tips and tricks. Okay, what have you learned from all of your different experiences where you've been worshiping? What are kind of, because you pick out different things from where, if you worship in different places and you move around, there's different things that you get from different people or different gospel meetings or different things like that, that a lot of these older, more experienced men of the congregation have bounced around a whole lot more than somebody like me, where I've really only been at 2 congregations.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's a really cool idea. We should tell Ryan Smith. I think he's over the men's group.
Yeah.
If only he was here today.
I know.
That's so weird. Yeah. All right, man. Hey, listen, it is 4:59, so you have 1 minute to get over there. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. This was fun.
It was.
Yeah. All right. So we will see you all